Douchebag with a gun here. I've spent a lot of time recently focusing on overpriced firearms that are generally chambered in calibers that are equally overpriced. So for today, I wanted to show off a little something that, up until fairly recently, was a good alternative to all those fancy 300 AAC blackout options. It came up a few times in my 300 AAC blackout videos, but I will reiterate it here. I'm a very big fan of the 7.62x39 round.
This goes through armor, then it goes through the victim, through the wall, through a tree outside. It shoots through schools.
However, I am not so much a fan of the AKM platform. I don't like the ergonomics. I don't like the amount of hurdles you gotta go through to mount optics and accessories to them. And I don't like the fact that they're made by commies and used by terrorists. Now, before any of y'all click off the video and mumble shit about how I'm an idiot, I want to say that for one, I am a total idiot.
I want to be in the Special Olympics.
And two, I did own two AK-47s prior to buying this here pistol. I had a Wasser 10, which was a piece of shit. It shot, but the sights were so far off that the gun couldn't reliably hit anything. I also owned an Arsenal SAM F761, which was a Bulgarian-made milled receiver AK. Now, that was a nice rifle, but it was heavy, I know, by design, and I could never get used to it or get set up in a way that made me enjoy shooting it. So I sold both of them off last year, and I used some of that money to buy this here little guy, which is the CMMG Mk47, formerly known as the Mutant. Back in 2014, the fat guy from CMMG revealed the Mutant, which was a purpose-built rifle that uses the operation and ergonomics of an AR-15, but is designed to work with the 7.62x39 cartridge and utilize the same magazine. Since then, CMMG has rebranded this to the Mk47, but we all still pretty much know it as the Mutant. The success of the Mutant spawned some cheaper copycats, but there are some distinct differences that we will touch on as we go over this pistol. So, now we will get into it, and we will go ass to mouth, because that's how I roll. On the ass end, we have an SBA3 pistol stabilizing brace. When I purchased this gun, I actually bought it as the Banshee Model 100, because that was the only one that was in stock for months and months at a time. It originally shipped with this here pistol buffer tube, and that immediately had to go. It also had a standard pistol grip and no frills options all around. So I swapped out the pistol buffer for a standard A4 receiver extension and added in the pistol brace. It is important to note that most of the lower parts on this gun are completely compatible with standard AR-15 components. Buffer, tube, buffer, the end plate, the grip, and the fire control unit are all standard fare, which leaves you lots of options. So, moving forward, I have a Magpul MOE grip. Again, nothing fancy here, but I like the grip angle and the affordable price of the Magpul options. I also swapped out the standard safety selector with a Battle Arms Development ambidextrous safety selector. Because you know me, it's got to be ambidextrous. The trigger is an ALG. Now I went with this for a few reasons. For one, the Geisler triggers are a little too light, and this gun does have a bit more recoil. I had ALG triggers in my AKs when I owned them, and it was way too easy for me to double tap that trigger when I didn't want to. So for this one, I opted for something with a little bit more of a mil spec. Also, I used the stiffer hammer spring that's included with the package, so it increases the trigger weight a little bit, and it hits harder against those pesky cheap-ass commie primers. Now the rest of the lower is a billet 7075 T6 aluminum, and it is purpose-made to use these AK-47 magazines, as we've already stated. Features this oversized mag release paddle, which is nice, and the fitment and lockup of the magazines is pretty good, though I've only ever tried using Magpul mags and some surplus Korean mags that I have floating around. And incidentally, this is a Gen 1 Magpul mag, so it doesn't have the steel reinforced feed lips. The upper receiver is where things get interesting. It has a forged 7075 T6 aluminum upper, and it is significantly more beefed up than a standard AR-15 upper receiver. You'll notice it does not have any forward assist. The bolt is not even designed to have that. Charging handle is ambidextrous, and it is a proprietary charging handle design, and that's due to the dimensions of the bolt and the carrier, and we'll get into that when we break it open. And this is important to know, that if you are buying one of these, you are stuck using their charging handle and their bolt and carrier parts. While we got it up here, on top I have a Primary Arms ACSS 2X optic. Reticle is calibrated for 7.62x39 and 300 blackout. Now, this gun ain't meant for precision shooting, so this works really well for that kind of close engagement type of stuff. Before we crack it open, talk about the barrel. Barrel is 10 inches, 4140 chrome mollis steel with 1 in 10 twist. And it is salt bath nitride treated, so there ain't no chrome lining or anything. It's shipped with this 9-inch M-LOK handguard, and that's pretty nice. It serves the purpose. Pistol uses standard direct impingement or internal gas piston system, depending on which gun snob you're talking to. So underneath there is a standard gas tube and gas block. If we crack it open, take a look at the bolt and carrier. Now, this thing is very beefy.
We also have, which is probably the most unique feature on here, is the bolt carrier and bolt are very different. They are not AR-15, they are not AR-10, it's right towards the middle. What we're going to do now is we're going to take the bolt out and we're going to see the differences. The top bolt is the standard AR-10 bolt. The middle one is the CMMG Mk47 Mutant, and then you have the standard AR-15 M16. What you're clearly able to see is that the Mk47 sits right in the middle for as far as size. Now, when you take a close look at the bolt is where you really see the difference. The Mk47 starts off with a 308 bolt, and then it scales it down to shoot the 7.62x39mm cartridge, which leaves an extremely strong bolt. Instead of the other, which is being used on everybody else's rifles, is you're taking a 5.56mm bolt and scaling it up to fire 7.62x39. The problem is the support web around the cartridge case, around where the locking lugs are, is significantly thinner and is significantly weaker. A problem that has gone on consistently is broken bolts, especially in that area there with the 7.62x39. You've had fractures in there. You would have issues with bolts cracking. The bolt that bolt was not designed to take the load of a 7.62x39. It was designed to take that of a 5.56. And the major benefit of going with a 7.62x51 bolt and scaling that down is you have an indestructible, strong bolt.
So this is really the heart and soul about what makes it different. They did design the bolt carrier with this extra hole back here. You are able to put in additional weights, so if you are running one of these guys, you can actually slow this thing down so it's not overgassed and slamming the heck out of your buffer. Now on the mouth end of the pistol, we have an AAC 762 SDN6 silencer. Now this is not something I would have felt too cozy mounting to one of my AKs, especially that Wasser 10. But it fits on here like a glove, and I am not too concerned about a baffle strike.
Oh, it might be a Nikon.
Oh man.
Oh, it's funny because it's not mine.
This gun is fun. Now, it thumps harder than my 300 AAC blackout options for sure. But that is kind of the niche role that this gun fills, at least in my collection. Originally I bought it because 7.62x39 was much more cheaper to shoot than the 300 AAC blackout. But things have certainly changed since then. Thanks, Sniffin' Joe. But I still love the stopping power of this cartridge, and I love the ballistic performance out of a 10-inch barrel. If you check out the data over ballistics by the inch, you will see that you don't lose much velocity or hitting power by dropping from 16 inches down to 10 inches. Maybe that is why SOCOM wanted to have upper receivers chambered in this round. Now, reliability has been 100% for me so far, but admittedly I haven't put a ton of rounds through it yet. It was another one of those pandemic purchases that has spent more time getting modified and tinkered with than being shot. But I do plan to fix that. So, that is about all I gotta say about this one. Be sure to check out my brother, Dooshbag's brother Dick, using the link in the description. He's been a little AWOL lately, but I can assure you he ain't dead yet. He's just been busy inhaling as many McRib sandwiches as possible before they disappear again.
Peter, you should really slow down. You've already had like 30
McRibs.
Shut up, Brian. It relieves the pain of mustachelessness. And it's working. I no longer feel the pain. Come to think of it, I can't really feel anything on the left half of my body.
Really? That doesn't sound good.
And his arteries have been too clogged to allow him to think up any new content. But he will be back soon enough to entertain us all. Thank you for watching, and remember, I don't know who you are out there, but I got a gun.
Tangled in a web, I'm already dead. Might as well just give